Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Nyambura and I make content on home, garden and lifestyle. So today we're going to look at a question I've been asked about chicken. Of late I've been doing a lot of chicken content, and it's because you, my viewers, have been asking for more chicken content every other time. And so today we're going to look at what kind of chicken should I keep. The most popular chicken in Kenya are either layers, broilers or the local breeds which we call Kienyeji. So we're going to look at the pros and cons of each of them and see why you should choose one over the other. Actually, people will argue broilers are more profitable, Kienyeji's are more profitable, but there are factors you must look at before you can decide which one favors you or which one is favorable for you and for your location. So there are a few factors you must consider before you decide that you're going to keep Kienyeji because it has more money, or you're going to keep broilers because they keep shorter and their turnover is very fast, or you're going to keep layers because you'll get both meat, and at the end of the season or at the end of the laying period, you can also sell the layers. So let's go through all the three of them and see why you can keep one and not the other. So the first thing is location. So if you're planning to keep layers, it's very hard for you to get maximum production from layers if you are in a cold place. So if you live like where I come from, the slopes of Mount Kenya, layers, yes, you can keep them, but the production will not be as good as if you kept layers in a warmer place, like say at the coast or in Kajiado where I currently live. So if you're keeping layers, consider the location, the warmth. Layers prefer warmer or even hot places as opposed to cold places or cooler places. So if you must keep layers then and you are in a cold place, you must modify the house to keep away the cold. Make sure the house is warm enough for this chicken to produce, and so that way you're going to increase your production and you're going to make some profit. So what if you decide to keep broilers? So broilers are fast growing. They eat a lot in the first 6 weeks, and that's all they need to eat. A broiler chicken will eat about 3 to 4 kilograms of feed before you can sell it, and it will take about 6 weeks. So then why shouldn't I keep them? Because they are fast growing and they give money faster. So the challenge is, do you have ready market? So if you are keeping broilers, before the first day you bring broilers in your home, make sure you have the market, because 6 weeks is going to fly so fast. You're ever going to wonder where are you going to take them. And every time they stay in your home past 6 weeks, you either raise the price or you go at a loss. So every day you feed them later past 6 weeks, you're either making a loss or you're considering a higher market. So what then should you look at when you're keeping broilers? So broilers are mainly for meat. Obviously, they're just for meat actually. And what you need to consider is, first of all, market, storage, and also location. So the best location to keep broilers is either near an urban center or maybe near an institution like a school, schools that eat chicken. Not all schools eat chicken. A school, a hospital, or an institution, a hotel, or maybe hotels. So broilers are good and they are more profitable if you are near an urban center, or you have an institution that is buying your chicken, or you actually have a market in an urban center and you have a means of transport and a means of storage. Because if you're transporting your broilers from, say, let's say Western Kenya to Nairobi, and you've already slaughtered them, you need maybe to put them in a cooler so that they don't go bad or they don't get spoiled on the way. So you really need to consider, how far are you from your market when you're keeping broilers? And two, you really need to consider whether you have the right transportation means if you are far away from your market. So then if you're keeping broilers, also remember you need to have enough money to feed them until you can sell them. So you need to count the cost. So broilers, when you bring them in, you will have to vaccinate them, feed them until they're 6 weeks, then you can sell them off. So in case you don't sell them at 6 weeks, then what options do you have? You can actually refrigerate them, you can freeze them. So then if you're starting broiler chicken and you're not sure that your market will be ready by 6 weeks, invest in a freezer. So that by the time you're slaughtering all your chicken, you can store them in a freezer as you look for market. And that will cover you for the losses. So that's more about broilers. What about Kienyeji or local breeds? These ones are a bit more forgiving when it comes to location, but they are more favorable in the rural areas because they love to scratch around, they love to be let free. But you can also actually keep them indoors, like myself. I keep mine indoors, and even though I'm not in the rural area, I have managed to be able to keep my Kienyeji chicken in a confined place, although I release them once in a while and feed them well and make sure they are profitable. So you need to look at, again, your market. Kienyeji's, they are a bit forgiving. They grow slower, so you have time to look for your market. They also don't eat as much as broilers, so you also have a leeway there. You can feed them your table scraps. If you have ugali, you can feed them, so they are easier. But then Kienyeji take so long to grow. So if you're keeping your local breeds, Kienyeji chicken, that's what we call them, you need about 6 months of feeding them before they can produce their first egg, or even before maybe you can sell them. So you really need to consider what they are going to be eating. As much as their feeds may be cheaper or lesser, or even more variable, because you can feed them grass, you can feed them vegetables, whatever you have, they're going to eat it. But then you need to figure out how you're going to get that food for the first 6 months before you keep them. Then Kienyeji, the price is a bit higher. So usually institutions will not be looking to buy your Kienyeji chicken. So if you're keeping them en masse, then you need to figure out who exactly is going to buy them. Because usually people are going for meat, they look for broilers. People who are going for eggs, they look for layers. Why? Because also of the consistency of producing eggs. So Kienyeji's will give you both, but then they'll not give you as a consistent supply of either eggs or whatever as compared to the other two breeds. So as you choose to keep Kienyeji chicken, you need to figure out then who are you going to sell them to, and also your location. Do you have enough space for them to scratch? But if you don't have enough space and you would like to keep Kienyeji chicken because they are easier to take care of, they demand less attention, they are actually very unsolved, let's say somehow unsolved, like mine, then you can consider buying our chicken plan, which actually is able to keep your Kienyeji chicken all the way until you can sell them, even if you don't have a lot of space for them to scratch. And also keep it right here so that you figure out a few of the things we do to our Kienyeji chicken so that they still survive while they are confined. So that's it about location. So the next factor you need to look at when you're choosing between broilers and Kienyeji and layers is actually the cost of production. So you need to know how much money you need to first buy the first stock, build your coop. You need to figure out how much money it will cost you to build the house for your chicken. Remember, we said if you're in a cold in a cold place, then you need to modify your house to be warmer. So you need to factor that also as a cost of production. You need also to factor labor. So are your chicken labor intensive? How many do you have? Do they need someone watching over them, cleaning the house, changing the water? Do they need medicine, pest and disease control? So that all that is factor, it's a cost of production. So if you're keeping broilers, the labor is intensive, but it's fast and it just ends within a few days or a few weeks. So you need to factor that in. And if you're keeping layers, you also need to factor the cost of production until they produce the first eggs. Because someone will figure out that if I keep layers, they'll lay eggs, and then the eggs will pay for the feeds, and then the eggs will pay for the workers, the eggs will pay for the lease of the place if I don't own the place where I'm keeping my layers. But remember, you have to wait until the layers start laying. So before they can start laying, then you need to lay down that cost of production. Because the reason why you will actually give up on the way is because you didn't count your cost. And somewhere in between, you can't afford the feeds, you can't afford the medicine, you don't have someone to take care of them. You didn't figure that out before you started. So before you even settle down for what you need, for whatever chicken you want to keep, figure out the cost of production. Kienyeji's are easier, they are more friendly for busier people, I suppose, like myself, because mine I feed them twice a day, and they are not I don't think they need a lot of babysitting in quote unquote, as opposed to the other breeds. And so if you don't have enough time to take care of your chicken, if you don't have enough money as you start to hire someone to take care of your chicken, then you need to count which breed are you going to choose that is going to favor your circumstances. Then the last factor that you need to consider before you choose between Kienyeji, broiler, and layers is the mode of operation. So are you going to keep this chicken in a deep litter, or are you going to keep them in cages? Do you live in the vicinity of your chicken, or do you live far away? Are you a telephone farmer, or are you a hands-on farmer, or what kind of a farmer you are? Now, broilers are very delicate. As much as they grow fast, the returns are quick and easy, or they look quick and easy. The downtime is that they are labor intensive. They need you to be present. And mostly broilers in Kenya are kept in the deep litter system, so whereby you put the shavings and the chicken will stay there. I've really never done deep litter system, but I know how it works. But that's how you keep your broilers. But do you have space then for this? Because then you will need a whole space that is on ground level to be able to do the deep litter system. So you also doing cages. Do you have someone who can manage the cages for you? Do you have someone who understands how to manage the cages? The watering system, mostly cages will use drips, the nipples, but the deep litter system, you can either use the nipples or you can use the drinkers. Then if you're using drinkers, water actually is one of the major things that people don't really look at when they are keeping chicken, and that is the major way diseases are spread. Do you have the right water for even mixing your vaccines? Remember, you cannot mix your vaccines with chlorinated water. So you need either rainwater, or you need to fetch your chlorinated water and keep it somewhere in a tank, and all those modes of operation, like all those things that need to be done. So if you are not on location where your chicken are being kept, if you're not the one running them, do you have someone who you can trust to do this for you? Because one small mistake and all your broilers are gone. One small disease, one small lapse in the way they are fed, they'll feed on each other. I actually once had a neighbor who traveled and left some broilers chicken, and they just ate each other. You go there, you meet imetobo ingine mgongo, because those chicken get hungry. I think the way they are designed is to continuously eat. Like I realized that the first, when they are feeding on starter pellets, they're actually storing fat. Those pellets are made to help those chickens store fat. So they eat a lot. So if you don't feed them, they'll find a way to feed themselves. And the easiest way is to feed on each other. So if you're going to be away, if you're not going to be hands-on, then broilers may not be your choice. Or if you're not able to find someone reliable to keep broilers for you, because those ones need you to be hands-on. Those ones need you to be highly on point. The vaccines needs to be on point. The feeding needs to be on point. You need a very hygienic area for you to be able to do them, especially if you're doing them on large scale, because one small mistake will cost you a whole flock of whatever number of chicken you're keeping. So Kienyeji's, again, are a bit forgiving on the mode of operation. You can keep them in cages, but it's really not necessary. You can keep them in chicken coops like we do ours. You can also let them free run. Is it free range? Yes. You can also let them free range. And because they are not very demanding, they are quite disease resistant, and they do not require you to babysit them or to highly monitor them, then they are easier to keep for a busy person or for a person who is not extremely hands-on. I will actually warn you that doesn't mean that you can just abandon your Kienyejis and they'll grow, no, but they are easier. They are a little bit more forgiving on their mode of operation as compared to the other breeds. So I hope you've gotten a point or two, or you've known something. We will keep doing this, and we are here committed to help you bring up successful chicken and run a successful chicken farm by all means. So in case you have any questions or in case you're struggling to choose whatever breed you can start with, let us know in the comments. We are going to answer you and we are going to work with you the journey. So thank you so much for watching this video. Please remember to like. I encourage you to like this video, and let's the 1,000 or more than 1,000 people that watch my videos, why don't you just give me a thumbs up and a subscribe? Please, let's reach 10k. We've been at 9k forever. Let's just push and reach 10k and we will grow. So thank you so much for watching this video. Please remember to like, comment and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.